Our next guest on the Beyond the Flags podcast is a racer out of the state of Michigan. Racing in the Sunoco IMCA stock cars, he performed a huge giant slaying at the 2025 IMCA TV Clash on the Coast by winning the championship and finished no worse than fourth. We're going to be talking to Mike Vandermark Jr. about his racing journey, his strong racing roots, and more. That's coming up next. But before we get to the interview, make sure wherever you're listening or watching from, you hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Well, joining us from Cedar Springs, Michigan on the Beyond the Flags podcast, Mike Vandermark Jr., who is the Sunoco IMCA Stock Car IMCA TV Clash on the Coast champion. First of all, Mike, great to talk to you again. Had a number of times to talk to you down in Florida and Alabama a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I guess when I get to talk to you a couple times, that means we must have been doing something good down there, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, not your first Clash on the Coast trip. You guys went last year, correct?
Yep, last year was our first year down there.
And what was kind of the enticement to go down there and make the journey down from Michigan?
Mainly, the weather's nice. Bunch of snow back at home and cold, and I actually run super late model around home pretty much full time, so the stock car stuff is just kind of like a little side gig for us, and just to go have some fun with. So nothing going on with that, so it's kind of a perfect opportunity for us to go down there and race and have some fun.
That's cool. And I was talking to Austin Harnick about it, and a lot of drivers throughout the course of that deal is, sure, there's a lot of racing going on, and that's kind of the reason why everybody's there. But what's really cool is you have time to go do other things, and Peyton Taylor, who him and his team who promote that deal, kind of encourage that, and they're always asking you, hey, what'd you do on your day off? Did you get a chance to go eat here? Did you guys go on a cruise? Which is super important because you've been around racing a while, and as have I, and you kind of just get sort of in the moment, right? Where it's just one track mind of like race, work on the race car, race, where this kind of divvies it up a little bit and gives you a chance to relax.
Oh, for sure. One thing we was doing all week long, we was staying late after the races and getting all of our tire work done and getting all the maintenance done on the car and going through everything. So that way we didn't have to be at the track, in early afternoon or, in morning or anything like that to work on the car. We just got everything done that night after the races. So, we didn't show up at the track till, 4, 5 o'clock the next day. So that allowed us, a bunch of free time during the day, to go do whatever we wanted and not to be tied down to the racetrack, the whole time we was down there for the week.
Sure. Get kind of your hard work done out of the way, and then not really rest on your laurels. But as you said, unless there's something immediate you have to attend to, just kind of go in, get some good sleep, and maybe do a thing or two, and then get ready to go at it.
Yeah, for sure. We wound up doing a few other things down there. Trying to think, we did a lot of sightseeing. We rode go-karts a few times, of course. That's what usually a racer do. But we went to that deck party at Andy D's that Clash on the Coast had. That was a lot of fun. We had a few too many fireball shots that night, but felt a little rough the next day. But it was all in good spirit. Had a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad that you told me that info about you guys working hard kind of throughout the course of the night, and then showing up a little bit on the later side, because I remember there was a couple of times folks with IMCA TV or IMCA like, hey, go get an interview with the Vandermark guy. And it's like, okay. And then I'm searching the pits. I'm like, am I going crazy? I can't find him. so that explains that. Cause, and it's like, okay, well, I'll do another round, like walk through, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know where he's at. And then at one point it's like, guys, I think he might've went home. Obviously that wasn't the case, but that's super good that you guys were able to, have a good time while also get some racing in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, luckily we had a pretty smooth week. You know, we really didn't have too many issues with the car or nothing, so we didn't have, you know, a bunch of expensive work to do, or, you know, we had to spend a lot of time working on it. But yeah, definitely happy with that.
Well, and let's talk about the racing aspect of everything. Obviously, that went well for you with the championship and everything, but you were solid. You were fast, both at Northwest Florida Speedway as well as Deep South Speedway.
Yeah, we just, you know, we kind of went through the car before we left to go down there, and, you know, talked to Troy from BHC, and he kind of, you know, steered us in a good direction of where to start with the car. Cause we never ran the car before we went down there. So, yeah, we just went through the car really good before we left, and we went down there and unloaded pretty good, and kind of just fine-tuned a couple things a night, you know, nothing too major. And the second practice we had at Deep South Speedway, we kind of went through probably three, four practice sessions, trying different things that night, and, you know, found something that we thought made us a little better for the rest of the week. And, yeah, just, you know, obviously can't believe how good the week went. You know, it's pretty exciting, what, you know, how good we might run up these other IMCA races that we're going to race coming up. We ain't going to run a lot of IMCA stuff this year, but we're for sure going to go to Super Nationals and the Harris Clash. I think we're going to try to go to that in June, and yeah, that'll probably be about it for us as far as stock car racing this year.
Well, and the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's, that's an event that you've been to in the past. I think you were telling me earlier, right?
Yeah, we've been there the last 3 years. That's kind of what made me get an IMCA stock car, is just, you know, all the mod guys back at home, they all run, you know, it's IMCA mods at home, but not stock cars. So, you know, I just know a lot of buddies that's went there and raced, and always heard how good of a time it is. And, you know, obviously watched on, you know, IMCA TV and stuff like that. And just, you know, the racing there is phenomenal, and always looked like a good time, and always heard great things. So that made us get a car on and went down there a few years ago and just had a blast. Like, love racing that race. So it's got a little addicting for us to keep going back, and just trying to get in that big dance is, you know, our goal going down there.
And it's one of those deals, and correct me if I'm wrong, where there's a lot of people that have asked me of, man, what's Super Nationals like? Or, oh, you know, how many times we went to Boone and all that. And it's one of those deals, and I say it, and I know it's kind of cliche. It's kind of like Disneyland or some other deal. You sort of just have to experience it to go, because it's unique, and there's just and the reason it's hard to describe it is because there's so much going on. If you like racing, that's definitely the event. And you get exposed to all sorts of different kinds of racing with all the different divisions that are there. And of course, all the drivers from all over the country that show up, as well as Canada. It's just a super cool thing that they've got. And it's one of the hottest tickets in town, in my opinion, when it comes to racing in all forms of sports.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I've been fortunate enough. I've ran a lot of races, you know, all over the country, and, you know, raced them, been to them, whatever, you know, and the whole atmosphere there is just, you can't really explain it to nobody until, you know, they go there and witness it. It's just hard to explain, just the atmosphere and the vibes and the amount of people, the amount of cars, you know, just super high atmosphere there. And the racing is phenomenal. Just, you know, everybody that goes there, you know, they're really somebody for where they came from. So, everybody's tough, you know, and just the track itself produces, you know, great racing, you know, just 3, 4, 5 wide, you know, sliders, you know, you name it, it happens there. Just can't say enough about it. It's just a great time, great event, just a lot of fun. I mean, if you're a race fan, you definitely have to go there and experience it once. It's definitely something to see, that's for sure.
Well, and what's cool too, and this is kind of where you come in the fold, is unfortunately, as of right now, there isn't a weekly deal for stock cars in Michigan, but obviously to track somebody like you, and some other folks that maybe they don't have IMCA racing on the regular. I even think was it Megan Wiggins from Michigan went last year too. And it's kind of cool to see sort of those numbers come up. And obviously the hope is like you guys go back and guys start talking. It's like, man, I want to get one of those. And pretty soon you got 10 or 20 of them. And you're racing back kind of domestically in Michigan in your case.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's been a handful of us that go down there. I know Megan Wiggins has been down there, Tim DeGraff, Rob Brillhart, Matt Dugan, Andrew Fiddler, Mike Spencer. There's a good, 5, 6, 7, 8 probably stock cars in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's tough to get, because there is good street up here. They're called street stock. So around here, like the Michigan street stocks are comparable to stock cars a little bit. And there's a pile of them, around here. Like when we have a higher paying race on a normal weekend, that ain't nothing for there to be, 50, 60 street stocks there. So, there's a lot of them around here, and just, with a handful or maybe a little bit more IMCA stock cars, it's just hard to get that going. It seems like in Michigan for everybody to switch over. I really don't see it happening anytime soon, but, I do think in the future, it's probably going to happen. Just not sure when, it might be, 10 plus years from now. I don't know.
Sure.
Just throwing a number out there. I mean, hopefully it happens sooner than that, but,
yeah. And end up a deal too, where if you're racing a late model show or somebody's out there has a different class, and then they've also got an IMCA stock car, I know twice the pleasure, twice the torture sometimes with two cars, but that helps when, putting the promoter hat on, that helps the back gate. You have, you have more cars showed up, and, race fans like to see lots of cars, and then obviously getting more exposure to the racetrack makes the drivers that run two classes. Sometimes I wouldn't say like a huge, like a definite, absolutely you're going to win advantage, but it helps more than it hurts, I feel like. And so that'll make, the racing better. I feel like it's a potential win-win. And like you said, hopefully that is sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we run two cars, I don't want to say all the time, but there is, a good handful or more times we do run both cars in a night. Usually it's just when, the stock car stuff is paying good money or big race or something like that, we'll go to, we'll bring both of them. But when there's a bigger paying late model race or something, we usually don't try to bring both, just try to focus more, on one car. And, we've had a blast doing that. Sometimes it turns into more work than you want it to be, but, it is a lot of fun. And, I feel like the more times you race, it don't matter what kind of car, where you're at racing, just anytime you're in a race car and can race, that just, makes you sharper and it's always learning something.
Most definitely. And for you, rewinding the clock a little bit here, how did your journey in racing start? And you start to become a race car driver?
Well, I've been around it my whole life. My dad obviously raced, so that's kind of where I got my start from, was my dad. I took over his car when I was in high school. He kind of stepped aside, quit racing, let me take over. But I got, numerous family members that race, great uncles, my dad, uncles, cousins, there's probably six or so in my family history that have been racing. And I started in 2001 and just running part-time here and there with my dad's car. It was a street stock that I started in. And I ran that part-time till 2004. Then that's when I started racing full-time. And kind of never got away from the street stock racing. I've always kind of dabbled in it, even when we've been racing other classes. But, I've ran a lot of different stuff. We ran modified. I ran IMCA modified for 2 years. That was kind of a while ago now. That was probably 08, 09. Ran pro stock for a handful of years. Ran pro truck. Then the late model deal, I've been racing late models since 2018, I believe.
Okay. And then when was the first time you went to Super Nationals? You said a few years ago?
Yeah, it was last year was my third year there, so it must have been 2022.
Okay.
2021, 22, somewhere in there was the first time I went there.
Okay. Are you looking to find that adrenaline rush, but you can't because you're not at the racetrack? Well, check out the IMCA TV Replay subscription library to have access to thousands of hours of racing for just $24.99 a month. Relive all the moments of the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway, the Harris Clash at Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the IMCA TV Winter Nationals at Cocopah Speedway in Somerton, Arizona, Florida's Clash on the Coast, and dozens of Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing program racetracks from across the nation, as well as the IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast. Plus, 25% of that $24.99 monthly fee goes towards the Driver's Point Fund and is a great way to help out your local racers. In 2023, over $97,000 was paid out to IMCA drivers directly at over 50 racetracks across the country. Please note that live broadcasts are not part of a replay subscription. That's IMCA TV. IMCA TV, where America comes to watch racing. Well, and you sport the number 26. What's the story behind choosing that number?
I don't have a great story about it. I guess one of my cousins was number 23. My uncle was number 24, and my dad was number 25. So I guess that's where the 26 came from, was just going in order like that from my family members that race.
Okay. Hey, that is kind of a cool story. You're keeping it a sequential number alive, and hopefully there'll be a 27 and a 28, maybe some more numbers in there in years to come.
Yeah, my son, he's starting to race now, and he's actually he wants to take my dad, his grandpa's number over. He wants to be number 25.
So maybe a reverse count. back to 23.
Right.
Folks that have never been to Cedar Springs, Michigan, cool things to do, good places to eat, any sort of points of interest. It doesn't have to be Cedar Springs specific, but kind of in the general surrounding area.
Yeah, Cedar Springs is somewhat of a small town, so not really much to do in Cedar Springs, but I don't know. I mean, my favorite restaurant is Texas Roadhouse. It kind of don't matter where we go. So
sure.
I mean, everywhere around here, but there's definitely a few of them, within a half hour or so from the house. And man, things to do. I don't know. I guess if you ain't from Michigan, you probably don't deal with a lot of snow, depending on where you're coming from. So, we do some snowmobiling in the wintertime. That's obviously fun. And people that's never been to the UP, that's a blast up there. Even a snowmobile or go up there in the summertime. It's kind of like taking a step back in time, per se, and everybody's just laid back and just country everywhere and a lot of cool things to see up there.
For sure. And I assume in the warmer months, any kind of cool outdoor stuff to do? Any lakes or rivers or parks?
Yeah, I mean, there's lakes everywhere in Michigan, and obviously we got, the big lakes surrounding us. There's a lot of water around here. You can definitely do a lot of boating, wakeboarding, skiing, whatever you're into with that, want to try out. But yeah, I can't think of a lot of stuff. I mean, I guess nothing different than anywhere else I've been.
Sure. For folks that want to follow you along with the racing schedule or any sort of results or updates, is there a good website or a social media page that folks can check out to keep track of you and where you're going to be and what you're up to?
Yeah, our racing page is Mike Vandermark Jr. Racing / Performance Motorsports. Yeah, I probably don't do as good a job as I should at keeping updated on that, but between me, my wife, and a few crew guys, we try to post on there, kind of what the plan is, where we're going week to week, and how the weekend went, share a few pictures and stuff like that.
And can folks help support you through any sort of apparel, T-shirts, or sweatshirts that you guys currently have, or is there an apparel run at the moment?
We don't have anything in stock right now, but we're going to get some shirts done this year. We just sell them at the track. We don't do any online stuff or something like that. But if anybody ever wanted to get a hold of us, we could definitely send something out to them or anything like that.
Well, obviously it takes a lot of effort to do what you do, running multiple divisions, go all the way to Iowa for Super Nationals, and obviously to Florida for Clash on the Coast. Folks, such as individuals or even sponsors and marketing partners that you got, I just give you the floor to acknowledge them, because without them, it really would be impossible to accomplish everything that you've accomplished.
100%. Number one, I got to thank Performance Engineering, Nick Lee. He's my car owner. One for him, we'd definitely not be where I'm at today with everything. And North American Diesel Parts, Mobile Diesel Repair, Outlaw Suspension Technologies, M French Concrete, Jimmy Ferris Racing, Central Michigan Embroidery Services, Sweet Graphics, TJT Designs. Definitely got to thank all my help. Kevin, Kip, Cheney, Bryant, Hunter, my wife, my kids. Just racing obviously takes a lot of time, and just happy. She lets me do what we do every weekend during the summer, and I just can't thank everybody enough.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Mike. It's always been a pleasure to talk to you, and you were a part of one of the most exciting finishes I think I've seen in a really long time as far as stock cars, for sure. On that first night with the 3-wide finish, it really looked like any of you guys could have won that race. It was so close.
Yeah, 100%. That was definitely a pretty wild finish. Me myself ain't seen a finish that close in a long time. Wish the cars played out a little different, and we were able to get the win there instead of second. But either way, that was a race too close to call, that's for sure. And I definitely see that playing a lot around the internet and Facebook and stuff like that. I think people will be looking at that one for a while.
No doubt. Well, I wish you the best of luck for the 2025 season, and I look forward to seeing you at Super Nationals later this year. And hopefully I get a chance to get out to the Harris Clash to see you come out there as well, if that's in the cards. And obviously, hopefully everything goes smoothly and safely for you and your team. And hopefully we'll be talking soon. And who knows, it could be in Victory Lane again.
Man, I hope so. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
Well, race fans, that does it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you continue to enjoy these upcoming interviews. We appreciate it if you would like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it's at. Give us a like and give us a subscription so that we can deliver more of these great interviews to you for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, wherever we're at, wherever you're listening, we hope you have a great rest of your day and a pleasant evening, and we will see you soon here at Highside Racing Promotions.